Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Tuesday. We're live. It's CrowCast, episode 87. Good evening, one and all. What's up, Crow family? What's up, Samat? How we all doing? Let us know you're here tonight. Drop us a message on the side there in the comments. We don't quite have a full house tonight with the Crows. It's not quite a full nest, but Dave and China will be joining us very shortly. But Lloyd won't be joining us, sadly. But joining us very shortly is our special guest, Mr. Oli Brown. Cannot wait to speak to Oli. Again, any questions? Let us know in the comments and stuff. What's up, Ron? How are you, bud?
Fantastic, mate. It was, God, I mean, it was great to be back at it, but it was cutting it close, wasn't it? If it's not coming COVID, it's storms, so which will, like you said, the boys are going to come on later, so we'll have a good chat about Riffmas. Well done to everybody who made it, but we'll definitely do a recap, show some pictures, tell the tale of what could have never been. It's fucking bonkers, like
close,
absolutely bonkers. But from one gig to another, there is not many tickets left for this booty, mate. It's a bit of news to say. There is literally a handful of tickets left for Those Damn Crows at Chepstow Castle with the Mighty Mason Hill, Florence Black, Tribalists, and James and the Coal Gun. That will be Thursday, August the 11th.
Wow.
But, my friend, we have an exclusive.
Say what?
Exactly. We have another gig.
No
Shall I bring
way.
it up? Yes. So
Let's
for
see it.
everybody watching, this is a CrowCast exclusive. We're at Chepstow Castle on Thursday, August the 11th. And then on Friday, August the 12th, we are at De Valence Pavilion in Tenby. Friday, August the 12th, with Scarlet Rebels and the Howling Tides supporting us. So it's from Chepstow, Mr. Greenall, down to Tenby.
Dude, the size of the Crows in Tenby. Massive.
Massive. Look at
They got arms and legs and everything.
They got tattoos and everything. Good God. For anybody who's ordered tickets for the Chepstow Castle gig, you should receive an email around 9:30 a.m. in the morning.
Well, yeah, that's the deal, right? So tickets go on sale 10 a.m. tomorrow. 10 a.m. tomorrow, tickets go live, okay? But for those who have got a gig to our Chepstow Castle gig, you will get a link 30 minutes earlier than everybody else. So you've got 30 minutes heads up to get your tickets in. It's going to be a killer night in Tenby with all those, with Scarlet Rebels, obviously Welsh and Howling Tides, and massive crows with arms and legs. Well, that's amazing.
Look at that. It's a cracking poster, isn't it?
It is a good poster.
Summer's coming, but it's better than the weather this weekend, let me tell you.
Jesus, tell me about
good
it.
God. So yeah, that's great. Gigs are back on the calendar. Really, really looking forward to the Castle gig as well. All the details will be flying across the screen tonight, so keep an eye on them and keep an eye on the fan page as well. Because they'll give you ticket links for the Chepstow Castle gig, which is Thursday, August the 11th. Like I said, I've been told tonight there is only a handful of tickets left for this. And then a CrowCast exclusive, Those Damn Crows, Scarlet Rebels, Howling Tides, Friday, August the 12th in the Pavilion in Tenby, which is absolutely awesome. We had a beer from Tenby, didn't we, buddy?
We had several.
Tenby Brewery.
But that's right. I'm looking there, Bevis. Absolutely a weekend in Wales. Look at Bevis' comment there. Why not? Make the weekend of it. That's what we got to be from as well from Tenby. So, yeah, it should be a killer weekend, man.
Yeah, it's nice that we can do it on here as well. I think you said it minutes before we went live. We're still kind of getting used to getting back in the flow of things as well. So if things are a little bit rusty, we're just genuinely remembering how we were doing things for 84 episodes, which is mental. Because like I forgot today how long it takes of like writing notes and making sure everything's just in place. And then even when we were just about to go online, we're like, have we got everything we need? Probably not. So I apologize if anything is going wrong. So yeah, links will be scrolling across the bottom of the screen all evening to both of those gigs, Chepstow and the exclusive one that we just announced in Tembe. So there you go. That's fantastic. But otherwise, buddy, yeah, I'm good. Like I said, I'm glad the wind has settled down. And glad shows are back on the road. And glad that we've started booking guests yet again for CrowCast, because obviously we came back last week for anybody who didn't watch last week, and it was just more of a catch up of what we've been doing since November, which was mental. When I kind of finished that episode with you, I was like, wow, it's just flown. Like, we haven't been on here for months, but it's amazing how much we have been up to behind the scenes, like, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, tonight now it feels like the first one back. It was, speaking to, again, a guest on, speaking to Ollie in a bit, and talking to people again, other than ourselves. So it's class. Yeah. It does feel strange though, doesn't it? I feel
does,
like it's not, and I'm motoring on all cylinders. Do you know what I mean? It's like constantly looking over there, then I'm looking over there on the screen. But we'll get it now. We'll get it.
There's a few people who jokingly said in the asylum, they were like, "Oh, you're on season 2 now." I'm like, I still feel like I'm doing the pilot. Like, do you know what I mean? It's it's very, very different when you switch off for Christmas and then you go back into like studio mode, band life, and then you switch back to this. But we do have some really, really exciting plans for CrowCast in the future, moving it forward. And I'm not just saying that now as a teaser. It's genuine conversations behind the scenes. There's even people interested in sponsoring the show and doing adverts, which is crazy. We can actually say that. So there'll be more details about that. It's just becoming a power. And it's all thanks to everybody who tunes in, whether it is even live now or some people listen to the CrowCast audio in their cars now because everyone's going back and forth to work, or some people just catch up on the weekend. Which I'm reading as well. They'll just watch it on the weekend on YouTube, like, which is brilliant.
Mental. David Graham, Becky Jones, Janet Page, Elaine Bowen, Will Moody, Emma Ashcroft, Annie Joyce, Becky Jones. Thank you all, guys, for joining us. Can't do it without you. Thank you so much for the support, as always. CrowCast, baby.
It's incredible. So we just mentioned about a guest. Should we possibly have our first guest back?
Let's do it for season 2. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the super talented Mr. Ollie Brown.
'Cause I'm haunted by the misery, haunted by the things I see, and I can't let go. Can I let go? I'm fighting, but it's breaking me.
Hey, Ollie Brown, how are we, sir?
How's it going?
Very good, thank you, bud. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Man, thank you so much for joining us tonight, brother.
Thanks for having me. It's wicked to be on it after seeing them from like lockdown and seeing how much fancy this podcast is getting with all the extra things going on as well. Like, fair play.
Thanks, bro. That means a lot. It's a lot of hard work, dude. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and we're having that big break as well, and doing the third album and stuff, like we were just saying, and coming back to it is a bit of like getting your head around it all. But we'll get there now. We'll get there, bud. But you've been busy, bud. I hear.
Yeah, very, very busy. Spent most of my time in the studio at the moment, and then obviously the new announcement of the new band, The Dead Collective, which has kind of been in the sidelines for a while, and trying to figure out when I should really announce it and put it all forward. But I don't know whether it feels like the doors are beginning to open now. I can start talking about it.
Yeah, because you haven't done any shows yet. Your first one is the Steelhouse away day.
That's right. Yeah. So, those guys have been amazing for my career from like way back in the blues days as well. Like the Steelhouse crew are just wicked. And I spoke to them at Rockstock, actually, where you guys were playing that day. They came through because I was selling jewelry at that point. I was doing something else then. And they came over and they heard a few of the tracks and said they wanted to put me on the festival. And they were one of the first few ears to hear it. And they were just so kind. So it's wicked to be doing the first actual outing of the Dead Collective, the band show, on April the 8th with them. It's going to be awesome.
Amazing, bud. So when was the last show you did, like live, whether it be with Rage and
Yeah, actually, poetically, actually, it was Steelhouse last year
Yeah.
with Raven Eye. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gutted about that all because we were driving up to Bradford at the time,
That's right.
Shane.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember why. There was yet again, it was that weird time of COVID where you didn't know, sometimes you didn't know if a gig was going to be on last minute. Because we were driving to Bradford, it was the night train and it sold out. But yet again, things were still unsure of if somebody tested positive, especially like at the venue, etc. The gig could have been off. So we were kind of half thinking we'd swing back around and catch you guys on the Friday if that was the case. Like, but yeah, it was just gutting because it was a clash because we were hoping to see yourselves, and I think Phil headlined as well, didn't he? Phil Campbell.
Yes. Yeah, they killed it.
How did that feel, man? Because obviously so long out of the game due to COVID, etc. That would have been awful, like.
I think I realized how unfit I became in COVID when I'm like trying to sing and I'm like, I'm out of breath right now. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I feel your pain, man. It was tough.
Yeah. Like, I mean, wicked. Like, I love being on stage is my home, really. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's where I belong. But like in terms of fitness, like there's one point where I'm like jumping off a kit and I'm like holding my breath. I'm like, I can't sing this. Like, I'll just kind of play this off. Like I'm just being casual. Like, oh, I'll sing this one lower than I usually sing it because I'm meaning to. But I was struggling like halfway through that gig. I'm like, I need to stand still for a minute and like breathe in.
Yeah. That's happened to us 2 weeks ago when we hadn't done a few shows and we were in the tram shed and I'm sure I stopped the show and said, are these songs quicker? Because it just I felt so out of breath. But it's match fitness, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. You realize how fit and how on point you are when you're actually regularly touring, and you just everything feels a breeze. You're like, oh yeah, I can do this, and then you take. I mean, it's like an obscene amount of time off the road, isn't it, for all of us? And you go back to it, and you're like, oh, actually, I should give myself more credit. I was in good shape then.
Yeah. So, Bud, let's go back to the start then. So, like, when was the first time you picked up the guitar and stuff? What was the first band you saw and thought, I want to do that?
It was I think it was a Hendrix actually. It was like an Audi advert when they had like I can't remember the Hendrix song now, and it came on, and I was like, okay, I really want to pick up guitar and learn it because my dad played it always, and
buy an Audi at the same time.
One was more expensive than the other.
Yeah.
But so it was that, and I just picked it up, and I just fell in love with it. I think it was one of those things that I really connected with. I didn't really connect much at school. I think at that point in time, I was still kind of figuring out, like, I really wanted to be good at drawing, but I'm absolutely shit. I just am awful at it for the most part. So like I was trying to figure out other ways of, creating art, and then guitar kind of fell in my lap, and I don't know, it all kind of made sense to me.
So how old are we talking here?
12. Yeah.
Oh man. So did you have lessons, or was it just a case of picking it up and instantly got it? Or
yeah, I had lessons for a period of time, and then I kind of just started using Logic Pro to take all the guitar solos that I loved, and I would just stretch them all out and slow them all down and try and learn them note for note, so I could just teach myself more than, because I think I got impatient with waiting every week because I'd learn it and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to do something else, and then I kind of started taking it onto my own and just learning for myself and just digging in deeper with learning all my favorite guitarists, really.
Awesome. What was your first guitar, bro?
It was a Yamaha Pacifica in glittery silver.
Nice.
Yeah, fancy always.
So was it more guitarists you kind of resonated with, or was it bands as well? Like for us, it was the Seattle scene that was kind of like that was the one that made us want to get into a band, like, So, or was it for you just guitars and you just went deep into that, or?
At that point, yeah, it was just guitarists. Like I really fell in love with Hendrix and got obsessed with him. I feel I get very obsessive over things for and it's intense at that time. So I'll just focus on everything Hendrix. And then I went to Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I think really the first band that made me fall in love with rock big time was Audioslave. And like hearing Chris Cornell sing Cochise the first time, and I was like, what's happening to my ears?
Oh, yes.
And that's when I started digging more into the grunge scene, and specifically more so Soundgarden and Super Unknown is just like is another world for me. That record is just the holy grail of music for me. So Chris Cornell kind of opened up that door for me to really start enjoying rock more. But at that point when I was learning, I wasn't into singing or anything. I didn't want to sing, so I just wanted to learn guitar solos and just play solos all day.
Yeah. So what was it then? Kind of like getting into bands when you were in? How old were you when you got in your first band? Sorry.
Probably 16. I did like a school band, but at that point I was kind of, I don't know. At that point, I was playing blues a lot more, so not many people were into blues around my age. So I got really lucky with an American band called Blind Dog Smoking, and they actually, when I was 16, I got to tour with them for 2 months in America, doing like proper dirty blues bars, really rough places, and in a rickety bus that it should not have been on the road. And they kind of taught me everything, and it was humbling and incredible. And they're the ones that kind of helped me like be more of a performer than a soloist. And they taught me a lot about the live side of music, and we're sleeping in people's floors and roughing it in a really fun way. And at 16, I'm like, this is all just amazing.
Wow. So did you go out there by yourself with them?
Yeah, I did. My parents knew them. Like the guy taught to my dad a lot throughout a year, kind of updating him my progress as a guitarist. And then he just said, look, would like to take Ollie out and give him an experience to kind of introduce him to live music and educate him a bit more about being a performer. And I mean, what they did for me as an artist, like, I can't ever thank them enough. They completely just schooled me every night. They'd be like talking to me after the show and telling me what I need to improve on, what I need to develop on. And they were hard, but they just pushed me to, take it a lot more seriously and step up my game. And it was mind blowing.
Wow, one experience, 16. That's amazing, dude.
It was, and they wouldn't tell the clubs at the time because you're not meant to be in the bars till you're 21 and above. So fair play to the guy. He's got just like the golden tongue. Like he would schmooze the owners, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, okay, he's fine. He can come in," and so we got away with it. But it was just mind blowing.
Wow.
That's incredible. You couldn't pay for that. Do you know what I mean? I'm just thinking back to when we started, and obviously we always talk about jam nights and stuff, which we learned quite a lot from jam nights because you're just playing with different various people, especially the ones that just go, oh, you can play, and they just assume you know the song and you really have to keep up with them or whatever.
Yeah.
But you were doing the full, you know what I mean? You'd gone to America. Yeah. That's incredible, and proper hustling as well at 16, like doing what we probably did when we got to 18, 21, where you are kipping on the floors and doing the rough van tours and stuff. But you're doing that across the state to 16 and plus learning off that experience, man, being poured onto you. That's incredible, dude.
Yeah, it was. I mean, honestly, I can't. It was incredible, and luckily, the smart 16-year-old in me made a diary of the whole thing. So I've got like a written journal of every day of that experience and that trip. And I didn't take it for granted. And it was surreal at the time. And I think I didn't realize like how much I was really learning until like later on. You go, shit, like there was so much being given to me at that point in time. And it was just such a surreal experience. And it was in the center of America, like Wyoming, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, and it was mental. And and it was peak summer with a completely dilapidated bus with no air conditioning, so we all were just sat with the windows wide open, just perforating.
So at 16, was there any moment, can you remember, where you were like, I don't know if this is maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I got this shit wrong, like?
Probably the main thing was the security when you go through this border patrols. Like when you get in, like you fly into America and you land, and they ask you all the questions, what you're doing, like, and they always make you feel guilty. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like I don't understand what I've done wrong. And they're just great at intimidating the shit out of you. And so I think that was the only thing where I was like, maybe I want to go home.
Yeah, that's amazing, bud.
And
what
then
an apprenticeship.
Yeah, so I was going to say, and what did you do then? Did you come back home? And then obviously, I mean, joining bands around you would have been a lot different. Do you know what I mean? Because, they're like, oh, you do a bit of guitaring? Yeah. Just come back from the States, man. It's like, fucking, you know what I mean? But was that the
I
case?
mean-
Was it come over you and like start a new project with an incredible head on of how the vision needed to be, I suppose?
Yeah, or the Carl Gustafsson, the lead singer of the band I was with, Blind Dog Smoking. It was Carl Gustafsson and Roland Pritzker. We went to this little corner shop cafe, and they both sat me down and gave me a really serious talk about my career. And they said, you know, as a player as you are right now, you need to learn to sing and you need to front your own band. Don't be committed. I think especially with the blues scene at that point, it's more about, you know, the guitarist being the feature and it's guitarist name. And they were very protective about me taking care of myself. So It was a really intense conversations, but they gave me an experience to go to a recording studio and put a couple of songs down and said, right, you have to write 2 songs. We're not going to help you. You have to sing them and then you can take this home. And I think they kind of planted the seed for me to want to find my own band. So at that point, actually, same thing. Like I went to jam nights and found players that I could, you know, work with and that I had, you know, that had a good sound. And I found 2 players that were killer and just said about what I'm starting to do. And my dad was super hungry about booking gigs. So he had me out as much as possible, trying to travel as much of the UK to, you know, book gigs. And, you know, I was incredibly lucky with that to get the support from him to just put me in front of as many people as possible.
Yes, it sounds it, man. I think that's important, especially if you get the support from the family, rather than people kind of trying to sway you off that path, like, you know, which we've seen all our lives, like, you know. So, sorry, Shane, go on, buddy.
No, I was just saying, so in 2008, how old were you at 2008? Because I read that in 2008, you were signed to the German blues label.
Yeah, I'd probably about 18, 17, I'm trying to think now.
So how did that
makes you feel old?
Shit, I'm we're a lot older than you, so that makes us feel fucking 18. You had a record deal at 18? What the?
It was with a record label called Roof Records. The same thing. My dad really kind of he was really hungry about keeping my name present towards people, so we would give them updates. And then Thomas Roof was kind of said like, he wanted to see me having a lot of gigs. So main thing is my dad booked as many gigs as possible. So it's like, right, we're super busy. And then Thomas Roof came down to see a show and sort of check out the band just to see if it was worth investing in and worth putting his time into. And so I had on that gig, it was at it's like a place called the Blueberry in Norwich. And he came down with a guitarist called Ainsley Lister, and they both sat down and made notes about the songs I wrote and if they thought it was worth putting time into. And from that, he took me on and, you know, put together, you know, a tour with this thing called Blues Caravan, which is kind of his own package tour for his artists that does really well through Europe. And he's kind of got used to rolling it out every year. And it brought a lot of opportunities. It was it was wicked. I think at that time, I think I got very lucky with the opportunities. And I think because it was coming and I was getting help from other people, I think now in hindsight, I wish I took more personal control of it than I think letting people have so many opinions at the time. I think at that point I was just grateful for everything, which you should be. But I think I just stopped kind of making sure that I'm doing what's right for me and making sure that I'm taking care of myself as well. And I think over the years, as that kind of grew, it was great and the experiences were amazing. But I definitely, by the end of it, I realized I was like, I've been more malleable than I probably should have been.
So how long ago was that realization?
Probably about, I think 5 years into it. Because I moved to Toronto when I was about 22. I moved away and kind of hit the Etch-a-Sketch and just like, right, okay, I need to like rewrite my team, refocus everything and make sure I'm taking care of me. So I kind of stepped away for about a year or so and just wrote new songs and wrote a whole new vibe and just tried to get myself out of that headspace.
Wow. Shit, man. You've done more than you've done more than I have. And well, before you got to 18. Incredible. That's amazing. No, but it's you know, going away on tour at a young age and realizing that's what you want to do, and then you're still growing up, aren't you? You're trying to take in everything you're experiencing. Is it right? And that sounds like a really full life already, dude. And you've still got so much to fucking offer and give. And because I we can talk about Raven Eye, but I mean, we're really lucky, and perhaps I'm jumping again here, but you sent us the new album. Man, I'm saying it right now, hands up, it is killer. It is absolutely sensational, bro. And those influences you were talking about earlier, you can hear it all over it. And Chris Cornell in particular. I really want to get into it, but obviously you haven't released any of the album names, any of that. So sorry, the song titles. So we can't really talk about it. But I just need you to know, dude, how good it is, and you taking that time, whatever you needed, and where you've been. It's all going to be worth it. That's what I'm going to say because what you've created is class, real class, bro. And sincerely now, that like you could tell it's you. Do you know what I mean? It's you. It's not all Raven Eye or a band. You could tell it's you, dude. It's personal.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like, I can't thank you enough. Like, I mean, you guys are, I said, like, some of the first ears to actually hear the whole record.
Yeah.
And I think when you reached out about wanting to do interview, you have no idea how much it meant at the time when you reached out. It was a really weird day. And then you messaged like, fuck, there's something in the universe. Sorry, I don't know if I should be really swearing too much.
You're fine. Yeah.
I was so grateful. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm going to send you guys a record and just kind of give you the vibe of it. And I mean, that's really why, where the band name, the Collective, came from as well. Like, it's a really personal record. It does feel a bit more of a personal journal over the last few years. And it was never meant to be a record like this anyway. It was meant to be an interim before the Raven Eye album. But as things get pushed back, and I think obviously when lockdown happened, that stopped all our touring as well. I was like, well, I'm going to put more time into it. And it just started coming together and shaping a completely different record. And my friend Wayne Proctor, him and I pretty much worked exclusively on this album and just together. And he's been a big part of pushing me to get this record out and getting kind of the lyrics out. So lyrically is a really personal record. It does feel a bit exposing in a way, but I was like, well, fuck it, I'm going to embrace it. And it's something that I'm excited about because it does feel very, personal. And I didn't want it to be Ollie Brown. I couldn't have it just have my name because I don't want it to be confused with, bluesy funk songs. And not that I have anything against them, but it's a completely different product and entity.
Yeah, no, I get that, wise move. But the personal side of things, the songs are brilliant. The personal, you could just tell it's come from a deep place. And I'm hearing you, dude, in a different way. Like, honestly, I am like, and I don't know whether it's because you know what it's like, bud, right? We've been lucky now. We've done our third album with this band. We've done albums before the Crows and stuff. So when you create music, sometimes it's quite hard to be a listener and just a listener. You are listening for, because you know the game, the process, you know what it takes. So sometimes it's quite difficult to just sit back and listen to a song for what it is. But there's a couple of tracks, and I'm really itching to tell you which ones. Perhaps I'll tell you off air. We can't mention what songs, but there's a couple on there, bud, that are really like hit me there because it resonates from like when we did Point of No Return on the place I was in and Point of No Return and stuff. So, but that really came to the forefront. Really came to the forefront.
I mean, I'm not private about it. Like, I'm happy to. I know, obviously, the song names mean nothing for anyone else. That's the only thing, isn't it? They're like, what does that mean? But I appreciate, it is like, and one of the songs in particular is from way back when. But yeah, I'm excited about it. And Haunted, the track that I do offer a teaser on, was really the pinnacle track for me. That was, I was trying to figure out the release plan and figure out. At this point, we're trying to find the right kind of team behind it, really. So that's what I'm just discussing with right now and figuring out the right direction for it, because it's that I'd like to be the leading track because that's what really sparked off the whole thing and made me realize that I want to commit more into this band and give it a lot more.
So what that was the first song you wrote?
No, it was they've all come at like different timelines, but that was the first song that made me realize that it's more than just a side project. This is a full-time thing.
Sure.
Yeah, because you put a snippet up. It would have been during COVID at some point where I think you were recording Haunted. I could just hear Shane will tell you I love melody lines and stuff, and I just knew on that snippet, and I'll find it on your socials and screenshot it to you, but you only put up a little clip of like, I'm in the studio, or this is coming, and I kind of thought it was to do with Ravenite, if I'm honest, and I was just like, fuck, that sounds huge, like movie soundtrack vibe. And I could just hear the melodies in it, like, you know. So now we're lucky enough, like you've put the teaser up for everybody who's watching this. So they've got like a fuller version of the melody. And we've had the full, you know, behind the scenes look at it. It's incredible. And anybody watching this, anybody listening to it at a later date, it's definitely worth getting behind, like, you know. So I genuinely, I think you've got to get the right team, like you said, get everybody in place, get it all right, because it's worth it, dude. Same as what Shane said. I think you've got a banger. It's killer, like, you know. So I'm a fan of it.
Thanks.
Definitely.
It's been really fun to do. Like, it's been completely unexpected, but I think it felt natural at the time just to keep writing it. And like I said, my friend Wayne, I think if it wasn't for his support, I wouldn't have followed through with it all. But he was kind of really helped me out of a space and just said, like, you know, get this out, like, keep pushing it. And you know, he worked, you know, my ass off, I think, when I was a bit more stubborn about it. And, you know, we've also worked with a string player to do it. We've got a full string version of this song, Haunted, as well. But it's all like, it's frustrating for me because I'm just ready to put it out. But obviously there's no, without a proper plan for it and without a tour, it's such a risky territory to start putting stuff out, because you feel like the music's already burnt out before you've had a chance to tour it, as, you know, you know, you guys know.
Yeah. I love it, honestly. I just, maybe you should come back when he comes out then, so I can really get into depth with you and talk to you about it.
I'd love to.
I just want to plow into 3 songs on the record straight away, like. But yeah, we'll do it again. But be super proud of it, bro. I'll get it out as soon as possible. But as you said, it's got to be right, because like Ronnie said, he deserves it, bro. But like the recording process of this, though, bud, is completely different to Ravenite, like what you've done in the past. And
yeah, so well, this one is produced and mixed by myself and my friend Wayne as well. Like, we recorded at a place called Superfly Studios up in Ollerton,
right.
And it's a wicked space. It's like a small, like, wooden room with brick walls, and then he's just got the most ridiculous gear in his studio. And at that point, when I was finishing off the record, I was living with Wayne, and kind of just, that's where you know, he was kindly enough to give me a house and a place to stay. So I stayed with him for the period of time. And we're like, right, we've got this studio, let's get this done. So it was all very separate. Like, my demos, I go into full detail. I can't really just record into a studio without going into like full on production. I love having the whole vision now. So what ends up being in the demo ends up being, you know, 50% of the song, like all the weird sounds you get carried away. And when you're a bit, you know, got that like kind of weirdness in your head, you're like, I need to record some more stuff.
Yeah.
But so it was all in there, and we had a couple of bass players. One of the songs, the leading track is me on bass as well, because it ended up being an SG with an octave down instead of a real bass guitar, because nothing really worked. Like, the bass didn't work, and it was this demo sound that we're like, it's too good to not have. But it was fun. Usually I'd work with a producer that's separate, because I like the idea of someone else having a better grasp of music without being objective about, like, you know, personal about it. They've got better objectivity, and I totally appreciate that. But I think at this point in time, because it was so personal, and because I spent a lot of time producing other people and mixing other people, I wanted to do this one very, very differently. And I know my friend Wayne Proctor, like, I know he knows me, and I feel very safe and comfortable in that environment, that, you know, we're on the same wavelength when we're being creative, that I can go, right, I'm thinking this, and we can kind of craft it together. So it was a really easy approach, because there isn't the pressure of another producer that you just don't know, and you kind of working the relationship out. It's very honest, and just meant that the music is always being served rather than anyone's personal opinions. It's the most important thing, I think, when you're writing a song and recording it.
Yeah. 100%. So is it just guitar? I'm gonna go back and listen to that track now and listen out for that SG bass. But is it just guitars you played on it, bud? Or?
Yeah, guitars. I play the Moog as well. I can't actually play a piano, so like all I do is I have to draw everything out.
Yeah,
you know,
you
like
do,
when you
yeah.
do the MIDI, I'm just got a pencil and I'm drawing it out. So I do all the stuff. But I've got this amazing Moog Minotaur unit, which is just beastie low end vibes. So I write a lot of the bass parts and just do like passes where I'll record everything in, and so it's just me on guitar and bass on one track, and then me doing all the harmonies and getting a bit carried away as much as I can, because I'm like, well, I want to quad track every BV, every harmony I can.
That's exactly me. There was a unit up in Rockfield. The Shiner keeps to this day calls me a nickname. I've forgotten it now. Harmonizer 3000 was it?
Yeah. Harmonizer 3000. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my nickname, because that's what I want to do. I just want to put harmonies on everything, like so.
Oh man, me too. I can't honestly. I can't get enough of them. I hear them all the time. Like I need to put them down at least just to hear it for my own satisfaction. Then I'll delete them.
Yeah, exactly. It must be a singer thing.
But we did. Yeah, the last record we recorded with Raven was actually at Mono Valley, so it wasn't that far away from Rockfield. So a wicked space, an amazing studio.
But I've never been in Mono. Have you been in Mono, Ron?
Yes, I have a couple of times. This I'm sure that's where, because Oasis recorded there, didn't they?
They did. Yeah.
Picture of their album cover is the Doors, like
that's right.
The legendary Doors,
the massive doors. They are as heavy as they look as well.
That's the mad thing about those studios, because I'd probably say to you, I think I recorded there like, I think it would have been 2007, or we went there 2007, but it probably hasn't changed.
No, from the looks of it, hadn't.
Yeah, with those kind of studios, they keep to the core, like, you know what I mean? Of because like Rockfield, we went to Rockfield, and we were hearing the stories back and forth, and obviously the two brothers had both studios, etc. And I said to somebody about Rockfield, I was only a couple of months ago, and they said I recorded in Rockfield in the early 90s. Probably didn't change, and it hadn't. As he described it to like me, it was like everything was pretty much as it was. Like, do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I think it is the thing with those. They're just like, the longer they leave them, like the more mojo they have, or something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, when we walked through Rockfield, you probably felt the same with Mono Valley. When you start getting the history, it just vibes you up. It's the building and who's been there, and you just start to kind of embrace that, don't you? Like, you know.
Yeah, you do, and the magic was amazing. Like, I have to say, in terms of, I think, attention to detail, I think I spent more time on that in Superfly, in the smaller studio, where there's a bit less of like mojo, where you feel like you're creating it more because you haven't got that extra. I don't know what it is around you, but there is something about those places that are super old that have had like icons recorded. And you just kind of, I think in your head, you start going, oh, they'd probably use this cable or this microphone to do this. And there is something, it's not tangible. It's just such an energy thing that those studios have when you live in them, and you feel like you're being just ultimately creative and like honoring your art entirely by living and breathing the studio for a good couple of weeks.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, yet again, I remember on the socials, because you were recording Animals, which I know is still available at the moment on Spotify, etc. So that was the vibe. The whole record was recorded at Mono Valley, was it?
Yeah, and with 2 drum kits as well. So Animals, we recorded 2 drum kits for that one. So on the front end sound, it's a super dry, all ribbon mics, kind of like ambient vibes, but just to give the kit like a really kind of particular sound that's a little bit uglier. So we have this real tight, kind of almost like Songs to the Deaf kind of vibe. You know, imagine the cymbals are all off. And then the full-on rock kit is what takes on like the verses and the choruses. I think it was something that I really wanted to dig in more with by having like the 2 kits, having something really dry and having something really rock, so we can play around with it, because you don't have to worry about recreating this stuff live. So I love the idea that, we offer as many different kind of soundscapes and sonic interest throughout a record to really kind of keep you engaged without sounding like you're kind of throwing everyone around. Like, you got the heads in a bag and you're swinging them around, but like, it's fun. That was something that I really loved about Mono Valley, was having those 2 spaces to go, should we just try the other kit and do that verse on, the other kit, and working it all out. I mean, mixing it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, at that point, I was like, we shouldn't have done 2 kits, because mixing it was a real ball ache.
Yeah, that would be my next question. Yeah.
What inspired you to do that? Because I've never heard of that before, unless somebody is kind of a well-known trick, or.
Yeah, I think it was there's two different sounds. There's a band that we were really falling in love with at the time. There's a band called Death from Above, and they had a record called Outrages Now that came out.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite sounding rock records, like modern rock records. Eric Valentine produced it and mixed it, and it's just just incredible. And they had that real dry wooden drum kit sound, but it's you find out they actually recorded it where Songs to the Deaf was recorded, and they did the same trick, no cymbals on the drums, and you're like, oh, okay, this is why I'm falling in love with this drum sound, because it's pretty much the same approach. And I think that's why really we wanted to do the super dry drum kit, the separate kind of sound, to kind of honor that, but also just to kind of just because like we wanted to have that but not be too dominated by it and too kind of under the thumb of it, because it can be limiting in terms of a mix point of view. I think we wanted to offer a bit more of the full on, rock drums, every mic everywhere, on every skin, upside down and behind your heads. And, I think that's what we really wanted to have available too as well. So I think when that space, and because there's like that Neve desk has like a million channels, we could use every microphone at that time. And our engineer, Warren Riker, he's really good at using as many channels as possible in every different mic position, and somehow still magically get everything perfectly in phase. And we just explored with it. And I think the input to that record for us wanting to take our own approach of still wanting the big, full on rock vibe that's a bit more open and, bigger room sounding than too claustrophobic. Because I think sometimes the dry drum kit sounds, as great as they are, they can feel a little bit claustrophobic sometimes, and you miss that air and the weight of the drums really exploding.
Yeah, we learned that off the first record. There was a drummer who kind of produced some of the songs, and he taught us, didn't he, Shane, in Rockfield? He opened the door like 3/4 of the way, had microphones in the corridor. Sorry for anybody watching this really geeky talk, but it is cool and interesting. It's like behind the records, and the amount of mics that were spread out in the room. But then fast forward to when we did the second record with like Colin Richardson and Chris Clancy, that was a different experience again, because I think I've got a shot somewhere where I was like, fuck, how many mics have they got on my kick? Because it was like, you could just see like them embedded inside in like a spider web. There was another one like 3 foot off. It was just incredible. Like you said, just that eye for attention of, we're going to put mics everywhere, right under the cymbals, absolutely everywhere. And it did create that, that
I think it gives you so many options for a mix as well, because it means that, when you're doing verses, like you don't want the full sound, and like having those different options to really create different soundscapes between songs. I think I really like rock when it doesn't feel too squashed. I think, I like it when there's a room for things to move a lot more, and having those options, sometimes you end up deleting a load of them. You're like, it looks cool for the photos, but maybe I don't need those mics. But it's so nice to offer those and doing fucked up shit with some of the mics, so you've got a real cool ambient soundscape for certain sections, and it gives you more to play with. The more mics, the better for me. I like the idea that you've got options to really offer width and stereo. So maybe your verses, not all the mics are being used, so you got something a bit more narrow, but then when those choruses come in, everything just feels like it's blooming. And it's super nerdy for everyone if they're not interested in mixing. But like, I completely get off, and that energy and feeling the energy of the choruses lift. I think your guys' record is a perfect example of that one. Like, you've got that mega rock sound without it going on the squishier side of life, where you feel like everything's too contained and too plasticky. And I do think that I don't know who started that trend, but it feels like that seems to be the trend at the moment, to kind of go around that kind of more like a plasticky vibe and losing some of that openness. And I think, what you guys have done with, Point No Return is like, it's open, it's big, and it's exciting the whole way through. And you feel like you get those dynamics a lot, which is, fair play to you lads. It's wicked.
But funny enough, I think that's what Shane was on about yesterday. Is evolving with obviously album 3, but it's not losing that DNA. And that was a really good way he explained it to us. It's like, it's just remembering what you've done. How do you move on and make it even bigger and better? Or how do you, it's not even the term better, it's different. Because you don't want to say better, but you do want to evolve and be better musicians, better songwriters. But then you do need these tricks of the trade and stuff like that. Did you enjoy producing it more yourself? Like, because you could kind of do or go off into your like mad world and add what you wanted, or did you miss that producer vibe of saying, "Oh no, we're not doing that," and then you're like,
I mean, I love it. I love getting inside music, and I think there's so much, like, especially when you start breaking down, like when you hear like the big bands. I mean, like Super Unknown for me is my holy grail of like attention to detail. If you break down every song and listen to the detail, there's a reason those albums are as iconic as they are. And it's not from just putting a band in a room, hitting record. I mean, you know, some bands do it. Rage Against the Machine and managed to just nail that band in a room, hit record, and it's perfect. But the Super Unknown, I love that detail. What gets me excited. So I think I go more and more into it, more into production, and I'm doing a lot more production at the moment with Wayne actually in the studio, and we're working with more artists. As it's just, I think what's nice is seeing someone else's vision of a song or a sound, and then kind of helping it become, you know, more complete, or helping kind of offer a different perspective and being able to kind of provide it. And there's a payoff in it. I think it's so satisfying when you help someone else's art, and they turn around and go, fuck, you know, to their own music, and you're like, yeah, okay, wicked. I feel so happy about this.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'm with you there, bud. Because when I've done that with other bands as well, when you suggest something, and then you can see their mind, you can see it literally go, oh, shit. And then what they tend to do is take it somewhere else in their personality or their characteristic. And then you're chuffed as hell. Do you know what I mean? But that you've got to plant the seed first in order for them to get there. And then that door opens. And I love that shit. That's what creative is all about. And I'd imagine, you know, I would rather be in a studio for a month and for 3 weeks mess around with creating effects or sounds and stuff, and then just nail it in a week. Do you know what I mean? Rather than having 4 weeks just doing the same stuff and not really being creative. You're supposed to stop, have a listen. Can we make that better? Oh, what about this? And then, like you said, it could be absolute garbage, but you got to go there to go through the shit to get to the good stuff.
That's what happened with the Dead Collective music. It was originally it was finished like towards the end of like halfway through the last year, and I settled with it, had to listen to it. I was like, okay, yeah, this feels complete. And then I was like, we sat down again because we had time, obviously having the studio, and we're like, hold on, no, this is missing so much. And went in and booked, like, you know, it was probably another week and a half or two just on overdubs, just soundscapes, atmospheres, you know, screaming into a mic or hitting shit, and just trying to, like, I feel like, you know, is there enough melody in the section, or does there need to be sustain or new elements so that you feel like each section progresses in, you know, in some kind of way, or, you know, offer something new that, you know, gets you excited as well as hopefully gets other people excited.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
I agree with what Shane just said as well, because when we were doing the latest record, we did like a pre-production in a studio called Giant Wafer. We just got away as a band and just spent like a week there. But it was just great, man, of like having the studio to yourself, having way too much gear and no idea for someone like me, and like laughing at the desk at like 1, 2 in the morning because you're going, can we try this idea? And we had the attitude, didn't we, Shay? We were just like, fuck, I just try everything. And it's that is why I think, like, for me lately, that music's become even more fun again, because we're trying everything. If it sounds ridiculous, or you wake up in the morning, you've had a few red wines, and you're like, what were we doing at 3 in the morning? Because we were going to bed at 3 in the morning, back up early, jamming. Let's just record that. Now let's layer it. Let's like spend time. And these are just demos, but it was just like, it was that fun, that spending time in the studio, not rushed. And then that's why I agree with Shane. I think like that's missed these days, where bands used to spend a lot more time in a studio. That's where the real songs came from, like, you know, because you might have been hungover and somebody's kind of writing a sad song because they're feeling quite a worse for wear, like, you know, but that's the shit that counts, like, you know. So when now it's kind of that in and out, you know, attitude, isn't it? Like, you know, you've got 3 weeks to record a record that's going to be out next week.
And another point, like being the producer of your own stuff, sometimes perhaps I'm saying the wrong thing here, but sometimes you with producers who've got that mentality too. You know, they're waiting for the next band to come in, use your slot. I ain't got time for you to fuck about. Get in.
Or they want the paycheck.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know, not having a producer sometimes, don't get me wrong, producers are worth their weight in gold, the good ones, right? Because they'll make your music, fucking do that. But sometimes they do stop the process that you organically need sometimes, you know. It may not be gold every time you open your mouth or play on the guitar. You got to go through those stages to get to it. So, yeah, man.
And it's a balance of them, because you know, producers can either become, you know, it can almost turn into a dictatorship if they're just telling you what to do and not letting you. And I think you mentioned it earlier, where it's like you want to plant the seed of an idea, but encourage them to take it to their own.
Exactly.
But if you're just saying no, play this, you're not producing anymore. You're just dictating, and you're not actually you're not representing the artist or letting them represent themselves. And it's huge. And you're totally right. Like, you want the producers that, you know, do that as an artist, and that's why, you know, some producers work with some bands and don't with others, because, you know, the relationships they build, because it's, you know, most of it, same with the band, it's down to a good relationship and, you know, good energy and chemistry. And I think it's the same goes with a producer as well.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Totally.
Absolutely. When you said earlier, I gotta kind of go back in the conversation. You spent time in Canada, you came home, did the jam nights and stuff. When did Raven Eye start? Because, like, I'm being honest, I heard of you guys, I think, on your run of Nova.
Oh yeah.
And I came to watch you down in Cardiff. You were playing the Globe, and then I started looking into you more. And then it was like,
sorry to interrupt there. I remember that night vividly because Ronnie rang me straight after that show. He's like, dude, there's a singer guitarist on the shoulders of a bass player in the fucking crowd. Honestly, I remember that phone call vividly. He's like, dude, they're fucking brilliant.
yeah.
So that's when you.
There we go. I got it. But
Yeah.
it's fucking brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. And that's the truth, I think, as well. That night, you were out the front, which was cool. Adam had run off the drums, gone onto one speaker. Aaron had run over to the other speaker. And it was just like, fuck, this is proper, like, do you know what I mean? Which is good, because, like, you know, it's like when you're in bands, I phone Shane straight away, because I'm there going, fuck, this is wicked, this is a proper gig. Like, I'm like, we gotta go fucking even more, we gotta level up again, like, as in, we just gotta lose our shit. It was great, dude. And the sound as well. I said to Shane, we were talking about it earlier, for a 3-piece band, you fill the stage with your sound, which that impressed me. Because I've said it about certain 3-piece bands, if they can really fill that stage where it doesn't go to the guitarist, and you know this vibe now, because, like, knowing your pedigree, it'd be so easy for you to go into your lead guitar in, and then that goes very thin. And then you hear the bass just kind of plodding in the background, the drums become a bit more prominent, and it just all goes to that lead riff. But with you guys, what I loved was you would do that, you would do like your licks and stuff, but then you filled it with the bass, which sounded like a guitar as well, which obviously I found out the trick afterwards, because I had to ask every fucker. I was like, how have they done that? And I think I spoke to Adam afterwards. I was like, you sound like a 4-piece band, but there's 3 of you. My ears... it was wizardry, like, do you know what I mean? I was like, that's wicked. And then he was explaining, like, how you set the amps up and how you got your sound, which is, yet again, it's the knowledge, because that's a good band who, you know, you work on your sound. Shane said it for years, you know, how can we make that sound bigger? All right, we've got a 3rd guitar maybe, but then how can we make that rise, like, you know? And I was just so impressed that evening. So I was a late follower, long rambling.
No, that's pretty
definitely sold, like, on that gig. It was like, and for me, I think I did it the best way round, bro, because I went to watch Scam, who was supporting you.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, discovered you guys, where I was like, fuck, this is great, crazy. And then obviously I'd went backwards and listened to your first records, Breaking Out, and then it was obviously Nova then. So I was like, this is brill, like, you know. So how did that start with Raven Eye, dude? Sorry, I went on a ramble of love then, like, but
no, I mean, I'm not going to complain to ramble of love. It's greatly appreciated. It came from, like, the kind of my anti of, like, I wanted to change everything and start. I think I started writing music, and the first song that I wrote for Raven Eye, it made me realize I should start Raven Eye, was a song called Breaking Out. And I wasn't actually going to record it. I remember I was in the studio with, at the time, was recording a blues album actually. And I remember saying in the studio, I was like, I don't want to record Breaking Out because the song just feels too heavy and it's going to be wrong. And they were like, just record it, get it done. And then when I got home, when I moved back to the UK, I realized that I need to dig in further with this. I think I realized that there's something I want to do now. And I was tired of being a solo artist. I really wanted to have a band of brothers. I wanted to, not feel, I guess, so isolated from, the scene. I feel like as great as it is having session players, you can, it's so different. It's so different because, understandably that, they're doing a job. And I like the idea of creating a band of brothers and doing something where it feels is more about a brand than a person.
Sure.
And then that's when I started, like, dude, I spent countless nights trying to graph the tone. So I'd like have loads of diagrams of like how my pedal board setup's going to work and how the bass side is going to work. Because I wanted to make sure the bass player could run through guitar amps as well as a bass amp. So I started like making lists of pedals and trying to just figure it all out so we could have this full sound. Because like if we're going to do a rock band as a 3-piece and go this heavy, we need to be loud.
Yeah.
And have as much stuff as we could. So I run 2 rigs with a complete different lines for each other, so they could, one was just like the noise machine where it had all the fuzz and the octaves, and the other one was on a separate output to do choruses and come on choruses, add the brightness back in, and so nothing got too lost. But I love hearing that about the sound because it was just something that I just spent a lot of time trying to graph the bass player and organize all those pedals to kind of have the sound that I was like, okay, now your bass sounds more like a guitar, which is great. So let's use that for choruses, and brought him in to kind of sound as thick as possible and sound like the fourth, the other guitarist essentially.
Well, the truth is that's how we started. We were like a 3-piece musically, but we just couldn't grasp of like what you've done there. And then luckily enough, we've had a Dave now, which is brilliant. So, and then because it elevates the band, and it's that band of brothers thing. It made the band even better again. And now even to the point where Shane plays guitar again. Because another thing I liked about watching that show with you guys is you switch the mood. So 1 minute you smash No Faces in, and it's like, I'm in a rock and roll show, this is great. Then you would switch the acoustic, and I was like, this is wicked, because obviously this was something that we'd been working on in the background. Shane been doing piano, and then obviously the acoustic, which we play now and stuff. And there's not many bands that you see do that, and we always reference that, which actually put on a show, you know what I mean, where it's not just like an hour of face melted, or there's just the one ballad and that's all you're having. You actually go on a journey, which is really delightful. Like, do you know what I mean? Especially if you're a muso as well, and you kind of like all those textures of a rock and roll show, like, so
well, it makes stuff sound bigger again. It's like all the riffs get heavier if you've got light and shade with it. Like, I think you need those moments in your show to really pull people back in, and especially with the lyrics that you're writing as well. They're really personal lyrics. They and especially when you can do songs like Kingdom of Dust acoustically as well. Like all of a sudden you can, I think, because the lyrics are important for you guys. Like you get to hear that contrast. You get to hear, oh shit, it's not just about riffs. If I want to dig deep, I can go into these lyrics and I can really actually treat this a complete different show. And that's the great thing about you guys and what you do as well. Like you've got such all the weight, but then just the dynamic. And watching you guys at Rockstock was incredibly emotional. It was wicked because I saw you guys supporting the Wild Hearts in Sheffield as well.
Oh, wow. When you come and
Yeah.
see it, yeah,
I'm not gonna-
that's such a shame. Like, yeah, we would have caught up with you. And by the way, that was a real fucking nightmare show as well for us. That was like
the loadout looked like a nightmare.
Oh man, honestly, I swear to you, and it's not like I'm just saying it. The first band on, they had an absolute mare of feedback. You probably heard it. Poor buggers. Like it was like the most awful sound. We'd found out that the guy on the desk, we didn't have a monitor guy or anything, because we were on a support tour. The guy on the desk was his first night there, wasn't it, Shane? So he hadn't wired everything up properly. So I get on the drums, hit the 4, bam, 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 and I'm like, I can't hear nothing. And then he's going, and I can hear like the I'm like, fuck, I've just got front of house. That's all I've got is front of house. So for I think 3/4 of the set, it was, from my point of view, it was front of the house. That's the only bearing I had on like anything.
Oh,
Like,
man.
do you know what I mean?
It
So
sounded fucking great.
we blagged it, like wedges weren't working. It was just the most nightmare show. That's mad that you were there. Like, it's
Yeah.
we came off. I don't know if you boys used to do. We came off. We're like packing our stuff. We seemed like super aggressive because we're all like, "Fucking hell, that could have gone much better."
Shit, yeah. It's the rage pack when you just want to get the fucking like just.
Oh.
Yeah.
They look like a pain in the ass to load out.
Yeah, and you know everybody's there and they're enjoying it, but you want it to be the best it can be, like, you know. So
Always, yeah. But then obviously watching you guys at Rockstock was just wicked. I mean, seeing the two things. One, firstly, Sheffield, you guys fucking killed it. It sounded amazing. So from an audience point of view, like if there's any peace of mind, you sounded fucking great.
Wow.
But then Rockstock, that was just a mega show. Like I think it's always weird at the moment seeing gigs still, because it still feels a bit like, you know, dream really, to see people, you know, gathering again and talking. And, you know, at that point, I think, you know, my partner and I were fucking exhausted because we were selling our jewelry at that point, and we were doing it every day from like 9 till we want everyone to buy something, so we just stayed till like 2 a.m. like till the last people. So like you guys are the last ones, and I think we're all a bit spun out. So watching it, we're like, oh my god, like what's happening? Like it's amazing. And then there you are, like running through the crowd, like, you know, and everyone's screaming like, this is amazing, you know, proper like off our faces, like overtired. But it was proper spectacular show. Like the energy was just, it's amazing. It's amazing watching you guys, you know, play and put on, like, I think seeing you guys put on your own show. The sports are wicked, but when you see a band headline and do their own gig, it's a different energy, and you know it carries itself so differently, and it was just just spectacular.
Thank you, bro. That's lovely. That's fucking amazing.
Well, we're on point with it. Tell us a bit about Black Feather, bro. How did it come about? And
yeah, it came when lockdown kind of happened, and I realized that touring wasn't going to be happening for a long time, and you know, there was no finances, and I've always had a passion for jewelry, and I was like, well, maybe there's something I can do in this. And I opened up a shop for a bit of, just to kind of curiosity, really on Etsy at first, and just started looking at pieces that I liked, and started, you know, working on Photoshop and trying to do rough sketches of pieces, and working with a manufacturer. Actually, I spoke to them and said, look, you know, I'm intrigued about creating pieces of jewelry. Like, is there something that you can do? And they started sending me 3D scans of designs that I made, and I was like, oh, this is really cool, and I wanted to see if it worked. And then at first it was really quiet on the store, and I was like, okay, this is a good little side project and it's working out quite nicely. And then it just started doing really well, and to the point it's kind of changed things for me a little bit, and just my perspective to make sure I can balance it. And but it's now up to, I think we're now at 9,000 sales from opening in January last year. And yeah, honestly, it's Christmas was the most stressful year. Like, I love Christmas. Last year I did not like Christmas at all. The antsy people get antsy and impatient. They think we're Amazon Prime or something. I'm like, fucking hell, like, I've literally just packed this and it's going to arrive in 2 days. But they're like, you know, Amazon spoiled everyone, hasn't it? But
that's right.
We were getting about 60 to 80 orders a day on Christmas, and I'm still working on loads of designs, but I love it. And it's been wicked to be kind of doing rock and roll alternative jewelry, and I'm working on doing unique pieces for actually bands now as well. So I'm kind of working on sketches and doing things to like offer something unique for bands, for fans, because some people want to get something that represents a band that isn't just, you know, necessarily a t-shirt or something. And that's what I've been really digging into. So we're just moving into an office space now to take care of it, because we've been packing in a flat with a staffy who's got, you know, the massive brick head knocking everything over. So we were like, right, we need to maybe move locations. So it's been a wicked, man. I lockdown was scary because obviously my time is in music and that all stopped, and finances are just not there. And I started looking at doing other things as well. And I started looking at doing, you know, Guitar Tribe, which is an educational thing for guitar. And at that point, I think I was just struggling with the whole concept of the lockdown and like not touring. And then I think at that point, my mental health completely deteriorated, and I just kind of had to just shut down and stop. But then at that point, finances or anything dried up, and I wanted to do something that was away from music and I didn't feel like I had to, it had to be on a scale of music, and it just completely by chance, it just seemed to work. And, I moved on to a website now and have a better platform for all my jewelry. And, like I said, I've still got loads of designs that I'm working on. So it's been, it's nice to have, and it's great that I've got something that can, help support me while I'm kind of digging back into the music, and I don't feel as terrified if we go into, lockdown all over again.
Yeah. Well, there's a website. Go check it out. As you saw, some wicked stuff. I'm a big fan, dude. That's some really nice
thanks,
stuff,
man.
Really nice stuff.
Yeah, it's wicked. I love it, and it's great because I get to wear my own pieces and represent a bit. So it's like, I might as well represent today.
Yeah.
No, I love it, dude. It's really pro. Like I said, I spoke to you on email earlier. There was a bit of confusion. I didn't know whether, because your partner's got a jewelry company as well. But somebody had pointed it out to me, and I was like, wow, that's incredible, considering, like you said, you put it together in lockdown. And you said earlier in the conversation you were always into art, etc. So I think it's cool to channel those creative waves, so.
Yeah, it was super fun. Like, I think that's the thing. It just kind of fell into place. Yeah, I think we saw it actually when Hannah and I talked about it, because we saw the order come in and we were like, Huxford, we know this name. Like, and we're like, oh, fucking hell, that's really cool that you ordered something. So because that was Hannah for Pretty Witchy. She does like all witchy jewelry, and it's wicked.
Well, my missus, I remember she's seen the stall at Rockstock, like you said, and she was on about it. And then she said your name, and obviously she said your partner. And I was like, nah, man, he's in a band and stuff. And then when I obviously looked into it, I was like, cool as fuck. So yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And I'd urge anybody to keep Ollie busy and order loads. Make it be a second Christmas now. You'd be like, fucking crows. Can't get out the flat. Jesus Christ. Definitely check that out. Before we lose you as well, dude, I started touching on it earlier. I said about Nova. That was the record we discovered you. And obviously I started looking through everything when I discovered your band, and so did the boys. And we just noticed the killer shows you were playing, which are phenomenal. You went on tour with Kiss.
Yes.
Or you did dates with Kiss, or I was like looking through, and I could see Kiss, Bush, who was a favorite of ours growing up. What was that like, man?
Ridiculous. It was just surreal. Definitely a learning curve, playing in kind of rooms that big. But it was just mind blowing. They were wicked. Like, all the crew, everyone took such good care of us, and the whole European leg was just surreal to say the least. Like, yeah, it just mental crowds and mental reactions, and it was. Yeah, man, it was just surreal, I think, to play those kind of crowds. And I think it gave us a lot of confidence to take our show to a smaller stage and go, right, let's take our, arena thing. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, we play the big room. Let's take this to the smaller gig. And we learned so much from it. Like, it's so lovely when you tour with those kind of bands, or you tour with a headliner, and they're just nothing but kind to you and make your life easy. And, they were wicked. It was weird because at that point we went to in-ears as well, because we had to, because they didn't have any monitors on stage. And at that point, as a singer, I think as a singer I didn't enjoy it as much as a gig, because in-ears are just, I know I need to use them, but man, do I hate them.
Stop it. That's like, oh man, I can't wait to have a beer with you. It's like the talk of our band at the moment. We've gone down the road and we've bought and we have great gear. We're very fortunate, but the rockers in us and that old vibe of, like we talked about earlier, jam nights and stuff. Your ears there, or you're looking at someone for the nod. It's just a bit weird when you stick something in there, and it's great. Don't get me wrong. And we've had gigs where I'm like, wow, it's really working for me. But I swear, halfway through the set, that's why I kind of asked, now, can I have a wedge just in case? Oh man. And it's just like, there it is. And then end of the night, you're like, yeah, there it is.
Totally. But I can't, like, I don't know what it is. It's like, I think it's something weird about me singing, then hearing my voice like that close to my ear. I feel like it's too personal. I'm like, I don't like, who's this guy like whispering in my ear all of a sudden? It just creeps me out. But you're right, like,
Yeah, exactly. I'm exactly the same. It just sounds like you're singing inside your head, and it's weird because because there's four of us. No, it's not. It's five of us. How many of us? Five. The boys, obviously, the boys have got a mic apart from Shiner because they come in every now and again with chants and harmonies and stuff. And you can pick what you have in your ears, can't you? So obviously, you know, you get a good, decent mix, and then a lot of you, you know, as a singer, just the you know. But then I didn't have the boys on a couple of runs in my ear, so Dave was talking to me on his microphone, but I can't hear him. Right? So he's talking to the crowd and to me, and it looks like I'm just completely blanking him. but I just can't hear him. So I realized
Everyone's like, "Oh, he's there for now."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually said, well, as the band that had fallen out, it was like no. But,
Oh no.
Yeah, it's strange, but we're such. Well, you've been to a show. I think all the good bands, they're just so interactive with the crowd, and that just takes it a step away from the crowd. Where, if anything, I want to step into the crowd and be a part of it. So it is.
Yeah.
You are right. I need to learn how to do it properly, but it does take something away from a live show. There's no question. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think the same, like, you don't really want to compromise the live show.
No.
And we want to have fun doing it. Like it almost feels corporate. Like when I put my ears in and I feel like that, I feel like I'm all of a sudden should be like suited and booted, and it doesn't feel rough and rock and roll. And that's what we are. And you know what we're gonna be. And it's like it's so disconnected. I know people say put your ambient mics up and listen to them. And I'm like, yeah, it still sounds like shit. Like I'm not doesn't make me feel any better about myself hearing some ambient mics. Or you know, you get someone eating a packet of crisps in the backstage if you have it, like, you know, in the back, and they're like, well, this band's a bit shit, and you're like, fucking hell, I heard that. I feel a bit shit about myself now.
Oh, I haven't had that, but maybe I did.
I fucking heard you.
Yeah.
You on the left, second row back, I heard you. You know, it's just so true, man. But I think every band's dream, especially when you start using them, is like if you could get to the budget where you got extra lorries to carry a big monitoring system around, because that's what it comes down to, unfortunately. Like, you know, so I think for us personally, it's keep with it, because obviously we got arena dates and stuff coming up and stuff. So, and then, you know, you never know, like eventually, like, you know, it might kind of all go to monitors, and you're like, I'm sure they used to use in-ears. No. You know, like, oh man. You know.
Ollie, brother, it's been an absolute class night talking with you. Thank you so much for your time and your honesty and sharing all this stuff with us. Your new music sounds incredible. We can't wait for people to hear it. Where can we see Ollie, Ron? Let's get that poster back up. Ollie's first show.
Yes, his first show. There it is.
Nice.
It's not long. Tell you what, if the schedule allows me, we'll be down there and we'll have a beer with you.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, that'd be ace.
Just looking at that could work. We might come down, have a beer with you. That'd be fab, man.
There we go, guys.
No, I'd love that.
April 8th, get your tickets. Go and see the Florence Boys and Ollie Brown and the Dead Collective. Amazing. Bro, thanks so much for joining us. Take care. We'll speak to you soon. And just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you so much, guys. I honestly can't thank you enough for this. It means the world, and it's really great to actually talk with you guys and hang out. Appreciate it.
Let's do it in real life with a couple of them as well.
Yes.
Legend. Take care, Ollie.
Catch you
Take
soon.
it easy.
You all. Bye.
Legend.
That was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Yet again, we're going to cut that down. It'll be available on Apple and Spotify on the CrowCast podcast this Friday. So for anybody going to work, let everybody know that. We'll put a little mention as well on the fan page, because I know there's a few people who have to clock off early to start work now. It's mad. It's a different era of CrowCast. But I do agree with you, Shane, when we were speaking there, bro. I wouldn't mind, even if we have to do like a different kind of interview with Ollie, and I think you know what I'm on about, to really get into this new record with him, because it's fantastic. It's something that I'm behind. We're always looking for new music and you know, but if there's something that you really vibes you as well and hits those feelings, like that's the one, like, you know.
Yeah, I tell you what it is, bro. It's like I feel like we've got a platform here, and I don't just mean CrowCast and our band. I mean like the rock community. It's like there's so much good music out there now that could have a platform, whether it be CrowCast or podcast or what have you, coming on and really getting into the cracks of how that music was written and recorded, and then people have a better perspective on it, a respect for it, and then maybe that, you know what I mean, it all adds to the, it's not just about selling records, is my point. It's not
Yeah.
just about where you hit in the charts. It's about like listening to somebody spilling their guts and telling it like it is, and what inspires them to create music. And I think our community, you know, is growing by the day. Like, and if they can tap into that and get an appreciation of that, I think it's only going to make the community richer with knowledge and understanding of, because the industry, and I'm not going to, and look, I don't want to slag off our industry, right? But it's bullshit, right? Our industry is bullshit in how much money gets put in, how much time gets put in to actually what you get out. We love it, so there's no problem. We'll carry on doing it. But my point is, if people understood that and saw how much effort and personality and the sacrifices that are made to just put into a song, just to get it on a record for people to buy, maybe we can turn this industry so it reflects the band more, so it power back to the band, power back to the performer, instead of, I don't know, all these people that are in control of the industry. But anyway, that's my goal. Anyway, rant on. What's in this? Water? No, it's vodka.
I love that, mate. I could have listened to that for another 20 minutes. But it's very, very true what you're saying. So I don't sound like I'm not against it. I think it's amazing. I think we're very fortunate. We have a great fan base that listen to this podcast, like you said. They do listen. They enjoy the guests. I think it's great when someone like Ollie comes on. We've learned something. Like I said, I was very honest. I just went to a gig. That's how I discovered Raven Eye. From Raven Eye, I started following Ollie on his socials. From his socials, I didn't realize, like, obviously the band at the moment, they're struggling to kind of keep it on the road. And then obviously now he's putting everything into Ollie Brown and the Dead Collective. Then you hear the personal touch, like he said, and this is his heart and soul into this, which then you resonate with him more. So you wouldn't normally get that if it's put through the factory process, because it's just new album out by new artist. And if there's none of that connection, like you said, like, you know, the fact that the guy blows my mind. 16, gets an apprenticeship basically on the road, comes back, still fighting. Years later, he's played arenas, he's played stadiums, and he's still starting a new project, still has the passion, still has the go. Because like he said, he wakes up some days and he thinks, what the fuck, what's the point? And then he had a little message off us saying, do you fancy coming on for a chat? And that keeps you going when you're in our game, doesn't it? Those little moments of people supporting you. You know, we know the fans travel up and down the country to come and watch us. The fans put their hard money into it. That's why we're very selective on what we release or what we get you guys to spend your money on, because we do care, because we're from the same, you know, the same pool. We go out, we support bands, we buy their records, and we'll champion like someone like Ollie now, where we're like, fuck, this is incredible, like, you know. So
yeah, 100%. But and I know if we got Ollie back and we went through this record, this new record of his, we'll get deep. Do you know what I mean? And
let's get deep.
Yes, we will. And you know, I'm all about that. So like, yes, I'd love to do a whole series on just getting behind the music, you know, the creating side of things. So
I think we will. And like we touched on it earlier, we got so many things coming up now with CrowCast, ideas, how to advance it. So it's exciting times, like, you know. So should we bring the boys on?
Come on in, boys.
Let's roll it one more time for Ollie, and let's bring the boys on.
'Cause I'm haunted by the misery, haunted by the things I see, and I can't let go. Can I let go? I'm fighting, but it's breaking me. I'm holding on, but I can't breathe.
Hey, the boys went.
Fuck me, you boys can talk.
Come on,
Oh, welcome back, Dave.
Somebody put 20 pence in the boys. Fuck.
Look at it. Hey,
How's it going?
22.
Back on
Look at the
track.
time. Look at the time.
I know.
It's all the twos.
It's all the twos, is it?
Yeah.
Right
All
now.
the twos.
Hang
all
on,
the
then.
twos.
Right, hang on, then. 2 seconds.
We're going to do this quick because it's 22 minutes past. It's 22. It's the 22nd of the second on 22, and it's 22 minutes past 22. It's fucking nuts.
Way.
But an interesting fact about it, that was just an extra, right? The interesting fact about it is if you write it out, 2202, it looks the same from left to right, right to left, and upside down. If you flip it around upside down, it looks exactly the same. So it's basically a calculator thing.
Wow.
I could only write boobies on a
Nice to
calculator.
make it.
That's the same as me. Boobs.
Boobies, yeah.
800-855.
So yeah, I just had to quickly get that in there. 22 minutes past 22 on the 22nd of the second, year 22.
Nice one, Dave.
Wow.
It don't happen often. I had to
That's
get it in that CrowCast. You've seen it first.
Well,
Yeah.
There.
if I'm honest with you, Dave, if I would have known that was in the schedule for 22, 2022, whatever, I would have definitely queued it up better. I apologize, dude. I didn't have a
Sorry.
clue.
Hey, we made
I
it.
should have known the
fucking
boys
made it.
gabbing, and I thought I'd be well in there by now.
In other news, Jane Smith can write boobless. Oh, see?
Nice. Boobies.
That's the better, did you know?
Did you used to do art in school?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
So fucking much, didn't it?
There was a few others as well, and I can't remember them. There was one or two others you could do as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't
yeah,
remember.
kids don't need to carry a calculator. no.
Penis with a 3 and a 6 and a 5.
I don't know. I haven't got a calculator to work out.
People,
Penis. 6.
I love how you've
Hello.
been on the screen for less than a minute and it's already gone to this. It's brilliant.
What's
I
what's
swear I've done penis once
But-
on a calculator. Sorry, Dave, too easy.
Amazing.
But welcome back, Dave.
Yes, welcome back, brother.
Sadly,
Sadly,
I had to clear my room. I had to clear my room out. The boxes stacked everywhere and stuff, and I had to like reset up everything because obviously us being away in December, and had to tear everything down because I was taking some stuff with me, and yeah, kind of had a couple of weeks off in January, and yeah, just reset everything up today. It's like fucking hell. Surprising how complex everything is, isn't it? All your setup and all that.
yeah.
So there we are. It's good to be back.
We were
Good
actually on about this last week, and when me and Shane did the video promo, the poor bastard was waiting there for ages for me because like nothing was working. And you know when you're rushing, it's just worse when you rush, doesn't it? Because I was literally tripping over wires, or I was like pulling one wire in and then pulling something else. It was just a right calamity. Like, so today was a lot more relaxed, but we were on about earlier that it still feels, what are we doing? Like, you know, so yeah, it's still mad to kind of get back at it, like, you know. Then you got us yapping and you're trying to get a fucking segment in it early, you know.
I'm only joking about that. It's your job. It's a podcast. If you were doing that, it'd be pointless.
You know what? That's right, that is. I was feeling guilty after he said that, but it's a fucking podcast. What else are we going to be doing?
I know, I love it. I love it.
Incredible, but
Oh, man. How are you doing, Dave? You all right?
Yeah, really good. I've been
Shane, right?
informed that my father and mother-in-law, John and Lorraine, are watching. Also, my Auntie Anne, Lisa's Auntie Anne. So, hello.
Hello, Andy.
I've just been informed. How you
smile
doing?
away, boys. Smile away.
So, yeah, no,
Welcome
doing
to the
well.
madness.
Doing well. Family are watching, so feeling good.
I'm
Oh,
already
they
thinking what he's just said in the last 10 minutes as well.
They know me well enough. They
Peanuts
know
on
me-
a calculator. They must be so proud.
They know me. They know me well enough now.
Good. Right, how do we kick this off? Because I'm well off the rails now. Right, we got no fancy video leading into it. I apologize, everybody, because we ain't got the budget at the moment. We ain't got the budget. But Riffmas, guys. Let's do a bit of a recap on that. How did it start? How did we nearly not start? There it is, boy. That was all worth it, wasn't it?
It really was.
Yeah.
Let me paint the picture for you guys, right? So we were on the phone to John Norman the night before. We were in our HQ in our rehearsal rooms, rehearsing for the show, and we get a phone call asking about how it was down here. We were supposed to leave at 9 o'clock the next morning to get up early to you guys in Birmingham, set up, sound check and stuff. We had a chat. We thought, right, we better leave it a bit later because it was quite bad down in Wales. So we thought, right, we'll leave it till about 1 o'clock. All the way up to 1 o'clock, we were getting phone calls from John Norman. Are we doing it? Trying to keep an eye on the weather situation. Is it safe for us to do so? And then we just ended up biting the bullet and just saying go. But it was right up until the last. Well, it was on the day we made the decision we're going.
Yeah.
So and you know, people were saying people already made their way up there. Lloyd went up the night before, which was quite wise. Fair play. He went up with his family the night before. But of course, we had vans, all our gear, which we couldn't do, all the crew, so it was just not really cost effective to go up the night before and stay up there. So we just braved it on the day, but so glad we did, because what a vibe. It was brilliant, boys.
It turned out well. We timed it really well, didn't we? Because we had to make slight adjustments to what, like, our leaving time and all the rest of it to like work around the weather, the uncertainty and everything, but we timed it so well. We got there later than we wanted to get there, but we got it all sorted. And then there's that thing: is everyone going to turn up? Because can everyone get there? And then you don't know until you walk on the stage and you see everyone. And it was a full room. Vibes were killer. So you couldn't have gone any better, really, could it? I mean, we were all traveled up safely, traveled back safely. We had a laugh. We had an amazing show. Everyone had a good one.
Yeah, because we were getting messages the night before saying like people from Wales were traveling up, but they couldn't. And they were cancelling their hotels and stuff. So we knew a lot of people that are booked or had the tickets to come and see us weren't coming. So yeah, that did start coming into your head then. Like, wow, we're going to travel this way now. Are there going to be people there? But as you said, Dave, it was a full room. Such a great vibe.
It was a weird one because we not longer than a few years ago, we obviously Roy, our ex-manager, owns a place, and we went up there, and I remember walking into that room, and I particularly remember standing next to Shiner and being like, "That's a proper venue. We'll play there one day. We'll you know what I mean." So it's almost like we went past it without playing it and then come back to do it. It's like, it's such a weird, we've done that a few times, haven't we? But it's almost like we had to go back to notch them off.
And every time we've played that room 3 times, if we think about it. We did our music video there, right? So it was just like, obviously the fans that came down to be part of the video. So, but there wasn't that many. I think it was about 30 to 40 people, was it?
That's right. Yeah.
Just for the video. Yeah. So that was like a half empty room. Then we did the Planet Rock thing, the live stream. Again, nobody in there apart from crew. And then the third time we played there, the room was full. It's just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. Weird. But it's typical SNA. It's like,
it is.
Don't do things straightforward.
We played upstairs twice, haven't we? We played with Bad Flowers back in the day with the Starting Gun album launch. That's right. And with Kyle Gass.
That's right.
Is that his name? Kyle Gass.
Yeah.
Because like that was the one thing Roy said, I can't promise you much besides a gig in my venue. And then he said, the only problem is you can play upstairs, but I wouldn't want you to play downstairs in case, you know, you wouldn't sell it out and all of that. And we, like you said, Dave, we ended up passing that, doing KKs Because
Well, you missed out on the last tour, didn't
he
he?
didn't bloody book us for it, did he?
Exactly.
He was like, oh, I don't know.
He was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure about that. Well, sorry,
I think we
matey.
did KK's, but it
Sorry,
was
boy.
nice to go back. It was one of my favorite gigs, man, for a while. I got to be
Yeah.
honest.
It was your only gig for a while. Mind your favourite fucking one.
Well, no, we did Tram Shed, didn't we? And I enjoyed Tram Shed, and I thought that was special for all the right reasons. It was the gig that didn't happen for a couple of years and stuff like that. But I don't know, with the Asylum, I think it was with all the chaos leading up to it, the fact that we knew we had a gig, and then it's just the fucking weather stopping us. I didn't think it was on. I got to be honest. At one point, I was like, I think I was up at 5 a.m. here, and I was like, this gig is not on, like. And then obviously where we live, you start seeing the roads with the trees that have been blown over and stuff. I was like, oh man, this is off. And then when the talk in the group chat of like, well, I'll go, then it was like, it's fucking on. This is, I'm telling you, this is on, like, you know. And then it was like, oh shit. And then I remember opening the door, and I think that was at 8 a.m. in the morning, like you said, Shane, as a timeline. And I was like, fuck, it's pretty rough up here. And then you guys were like, it's fine. And then about 9:30, then an hour and a half later, you were like, wow, it's proper picked up down here. So this is what I mean. In a real timeline, as you said, Shane, it was like, this is on, this is off, this is on. And fair play, it was just like, no, it's on. Let's just get down to the HQ and let's go for it, like, you know. So
I'm glad it did. I'm glad it did. It felt like, for me, it's sort of like a sign off to the point of no return era.
Yeah, it was. It was just real fun because there was a lot of shenanigans on and off the stage as well. Obviously, you went to the bar, couldn't get the tequila. That's normally our usual go-to as a band, isn't it?
That's right. And do you know what? It's a very valid point, Bud, because we've had a lot of comments about our boy over there, Shiner, saying how much he was smiling and enjoying the show.
Yeah,
you know why?
He was all downhill after that fucking whiskey, to be honest.
Ah, the whiskey, right? You loved it.
I was all downhill after the whiskey, was it, Shine? I just remember Shane.
Jaeger bombs 20 minutes later.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, my fucking legs went after that.
I remember Shane going
that far across that side of the stage, but
I remember Shane going, they don't do tequila, boys. Right, whiskey. And then it was Shiner's face.
Yeah.
It was literally that, wasn't it, Shane? It was like, and then obviously Shiner drinking the whiskey.
He's loving it.
The worst thing is, right, I couldn't even taste the whiskey.
Well, you couldn't.
No. So I always thought I don't like whiskey because of the taste.
Right.
But considering I can't taste, I still fucking hated it. So I don't know what it is.
But you sure love playing
you on the whiskey front, then, is it?
Yeah. Is that B's handiwork again?
I'm not sure who that one is. I'm sure they'll own up if they.
I think that's Damien Solis.
That's Damien. Yeah, he'll own up if he's watching, or he'll find out about it. But then, I mean, I've never seen you play Sin on Skins so happy, like, you know, it was that.
There he is, mate. See?
Oh, yeah, that's after the Jaeger.
Thomas sound guy. He came, as soon as he got off stage, he said, what BPM is Sit on Skin usually at? And I was like, I said, I don't really know. I mean, it varies, but it's about 130 or whatever. I don't know. He said it was about 197 tonight. I was like, oh,
it was
that's Shiner on a whiskey, that is.
I have
that was after the Jaeger bomb.
Definitely picks up. It definitely picks up. And then Shiner's like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
No,
it felt good though. It felt
yeah.
I
felt
still
good.
find,
Obviously,
it
it just felt good. It felt right. It felt, just felt like it. I think later on in the set, if things do pick up, it's not as important as the beginning of the set, is it? Because everyone's got that energy in them, you know.
I think the whole, like the set, the vibe, the crowd, it felt like a blowout. It felt like, you know, the chaos to get up there. And then everybody just relaxed, like, and it was just, I know I did. But you could see it, like, the messages we were getting back after the show as well, just saying that we, you know, they could see that we were enjoying it, which made them enjoy it. It was just a really relaxed atmosphere, and it was mad because like this was a Planet Rock Kerrang gig, but it felt like a Crow family Crow gig, didn't it? It felt like, this was a Planet Rock Kerrang gig, and Ruse were brilliant.
Yeah.
Got to give it up to the girls. Ruse, they were sensational. Started off the night, and it was just a brilliant night. A lot of people saying as well afterwards, it was great to see us on the merch table because obviously we haven't been able to do that much because of COVID. So it just felt like, it did feel like an end of an era, like a big thanks coming together and a blowout at the same time. It was, man, good though.
Yeah, after them Thoughtless Boys, fucking Masks for the third album.
We're doing it to Slipknot now.
Yeah.
Guess
brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. But no, I personally enjoyed it. You can see everybody laughing, but they all love it in the comments as well. Shine, they love the smiley one. We'll show the smiley one again because that's brilliant. That is.
Yeah, lucky bastards. Won't see what I am for a while now.
I tell you what, for those lucky buggers who stuck with us, let's give them an exclusive because we did talk about possibly putting it up. We talked about our third record. You just said end of an era, Dave. We're pointing no return. We nearly kind of dropped it last week, and we've had permission to actually say now of the next phase and what is going on at the moment. So would you like to say where the record currently is, Shane, and who has it at the moment, and what is currently happening with our third record? I always have to kind of go slower so I don't say anything.
It's like a murder, isn't it? It's like, what can you say on what you got?
Third record, album 3. That's all I got in my head. Third record, album 3.
Yeah, sure.
Should I bring up a photo?
Go for it. This is the man who's got our album right now. This is Jay Ruston. He's in America right now mixing our songs. He sent one over today, a track. Or was it yesterday, boys? Was it today or yesterday?
It was late yesterday.
Yesterday. I recently, like an hour before we came on CrowCast, we had a quick chat and stuff and telling us where we are. So he's basically sending over a track at a time, getting our thoughts on it, and it's in the mixing stage. Very exciting. Jay's worked with everyone, so he knows what he's doing. It's sounding incredible. Super excited. Just can't wait for you guys to hear it.
Yeah, and for anybody who wants to check him out, obviously he has got his own jruston.com. He has worked with Stone Sour, Corey Taylor. He's done work with Metallica, Mr. Bungle. He's done work with Anthrax. He's done work with Amon Amarth. He's done work with Fallout Boy, Sons of Apollo, Dio, Meatloaf. He's currently been working on the new Black Star Riders record, but he did do, I think he mixed The Killer Instinct, I do believe, Shine. I'll have to have a look at that one. But I know he produced Another State of Grace and he mixed that as well. So, yet again, if you want to check him out, jruston.com. That was just an exclusive for everybody who stuck with us this far in the show. We just kind of wanted to let you know where album 3 is currently at, where it is, and what it's up to, like, you know.
Yeah, on holiday in LA.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
No. Is he in the San Fernando Valley? I think, is he something like that?
Down there with the wine, Dave. He's down there with the wine, but
but yeah, really excited. Jay's mixes. I don't know what to say. They're great mixes. That's why we chose him. So, you know, and he's not going to disappoint. So,
yep.
Should we have some birthdays and shout outs?
Okay. First shout out, Max Reed, drummer from Tribeless. It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Max.
Happy birthday.
Emma Scott, radio presenter for Primordial, who's been on the show. It was her birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Emma.
Happy birthday, Emma.
Birthday.
What a great day. Kev Papworth Morgan, it was his birthday yesterday. Guitar tech, superhuman being.
Also been on the show.
Also been on the show. Great friend of the show. It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Kevo.
Happy
Happy
birthday!
birthday, Kev.
And we had this one message here. Shane, would you please give a shout out to all of the Crow family who made it to the Riftmas show? What a banging night that was. Thank you, Crows. Just as importantly, please mention all those who couldn't make it due to the weather. And please, a special mention for Claire Kidd, who we miss dearly. Finally, as it was Riftmas, I thought we might get to hear Oh Holy Night. We didn't. So how about a quick rendition now? Absolutely not, Paul, because it's February.
Correct answer,
And,
Shane. Yes.
But I did have a good crack in.
You hang on 10 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
making that video. It'll be coming out now. It won't be long now. But thank you, Paul, for the support, brother. Really appreciate it. It was an amazing night, as we just said. Thank you, everybody who turned up. Amazing effort with shitty weather and stuff, but it didn't stop us. That's it.
What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. What's the next line? What's the next line? What's the next line?
I got to be honest now. Every time I hear that theme tune, I think of the Tram Shed.
I know.
Instantly takes me in.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Instantly takes me in.
Everyone's faces.
You know, fun, you know?
New album.
Yeah. So this week, the prize is going to be a signed set list of the Riftmas set that we did in Birmingham, and also a choice of T-shirt, the new retro T-shirt with all the colours, the pretty one.
Oh, I know the one you're on about. That's the one.
There it is.
There it is.
Let us know your size. You can have that and a set list. So the lyric is as follows. Well, I'm done with the waiting. Well, I'm done with the waiting. What's the next line? Go.
And while we wait for the answer, let's check out a bit of Crow Radio.
The best music all day long. Crow Radio.
Crow Radio. Available now via Those Damn Crows Spotify page. Don't forget to click the green heart.
Do you want to take this one, boys?
Oh, yeah, you're back, yeah. Yeah.
So go on.
Go on. No, go on.
There you go.
Go on.
I was going to say, so as Storm Franklin rips through the UK, it's not funny. It's horrible. We've put a playlist together based on the weather. How British can you get based on the weather?
Yeah.
So here we go. Starting with Rock You Like a Hurricane, Scorpions. Thunderstruck, AC/DC.
Good friends.
Rusted from the Rain, Billy Talent. Weather With You, Crowded House.
Great band.
Riders on the Storm, The Doors. November Rain, Guns N' Roses.
Good friends.
Are they? You've been hanging out with Guns N' Roses and not telling me, have you?
Yeah.
I wasn't invited. Fury of the Storm, Dragon Force. Here Comes the Rain Again, Eurythmics with Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart. Thalia, The Howling Tides. Tornado of Souls, Megadeth. Ride the Lightning, Metallica. I Wish It Would Rain Down, Phil Collins. Naked, Reef. I don't understand that one.
No, not me.
Was that going two of the way? The lyric, is it? Is the lyric? Is it?
His clothes blew off. Naked, man.
Clothes flew off. Yeah. Naked.
I've been there.
Maybe you could write it on a calculator or something. I don't know.
Storm by our good friends Scarlet Rebels. Currently the highest charting band in Wales.
Yeah, and by the way, as well, that was the chorus in that Reef song is "I'll blow you away."
Ah,
I'll
right.
blow you away.
Oh,
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 yeah.
yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
yeah.
That's
What we
the
do
one.
now? Who did it? Us, because of the lyric. There's a storm cloud coming. It's not about weather, people. It's not about weather. This made me laugh because I didn't think you'd take it seriously when I put this one in. Informer, snow. Fucking hell. Why does it always rain on me, Travis? And Wind of Change, Scorpions, who've made it in twice. So extra
King.
royalties for them.
Yeah, as it was pointed out, they love a good song about the weather, the Scorpions.
It is,
So,
yeah.
where can you find all of this, Dave? This beautiful playlist?
Spotify.
And what you have to do? What are the Crow family telling you?
Press the green heart. Press the little downwards facing arrow if you want to save it to your library. And also share it.
Yes.
Share it with your friends.
Yes. Definitely. Some bangers
That's
on
the most
there.
important part. Share it. Music is for sharing.
Yeah, bit of fun, bit of a giggle this week. Hope you enjoy it. I thought it's a banging playlist anyway. There's a few songs on there I haven't heard for a while.
Until you get to track 14. Informer by Snow. Yep.
I actually like our song, but genuinely
right.
do, like, in all fairness. Have we got a winner?
Yes, we have.
Oh,
Lots of people got it right. The lyric was from a song of ours called Be You. Well, I'm done with the waiting. My only limit is time. Lots of people had it. I did like Bevis's comment, as usual, fucking clueless. Well done, Bevis. Good to see you last week, bud. So yeah, lots of people had it, and I basically asked somebody in the background to pick a random person. Not a random, sorry, that came out completely wrong. Just a random choice. And the winner is the set list and a t-shirt. Janie Walker. Congratulations,
Yes.
Janie.
well done, Janie.
You've won yourself a set list and a t-shirt. Let us know what size, and we will sort that out for you.
I think that is the scores, George Dawes. George
John,
Dawes.
this is where we usually go to my Did You Know?
It is, Dave. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
I'll
lie.
chuck you another one in if you want. I mean, it'll just be a
Go on
quick...
in.
Come on, then. While we got you. Come on, then. Let's have it.
He needs the music,
Play the
doesn't
thing
he?
in. I'm gonna have to look at it.
Right.
Fuck, I've lost my thing.
Okay, Dave, just go with it.
The fuck is that?
That's the
Go
music,
with it,
baby.
man. Background music, baby.
And
go with it.
relax.
The first known chili recipe used human flesh. Meat.
What? Well, that's what should have happened. Who's said it, knocked them straight off.
Yeah.
Human skin.
Flesh. I don't know. I've written it. This list of facts I've written down are yons old.
Was been made up, or
So I may have been inebriated somewhat when I wrote that down. I have no idea. But apparently so.
It's not like you, Dave.
Apparently the first known chili recipe used human flesh for meat. So look into it.
Steve Arnold. Bollocks.
I don't eat meat, so this is completely irrelevant to me. But I can't imagine a better way to eat a nice bit of human flesh.
Helen,
And,
well done, Helen.
Fry
Was
it
it
up with a bit of
on
chili,
skin?
bit of cayenne pepper,
I gotta admit, Dan, that
some
made it for
coriander in
me.
there.
The
Yeah.
fact that there was chilled out music while you give that fact. it
What was
just
the
went
chill out
horrible.
music about? I was like,
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. This is
Andy.
brilliant.
For fuck's sake. Some of us have to sleep after this, Dave. Chill con bollocks.
I love a chili. I love a chili.
Oh, man. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. I think we can't do any more after that. It's got to be this.
Ladies and gentlemen, one-liner, shiner.
Well, at least I got some new photos. Hey. Yeah. Not bad been out for the next 80. What we on 87? Yeah, 87 episodes. Yeah. So nice. I got a nice, quite simple one. Everything's right with the world again. Dave is back. Good night.
Yay. That's exactly right. Crow family, thank you so much. This has been episode 87. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Amazing hangout with you as always. Let's do it all again next week. Same time, same place. Live at 9 on CrowCast, episode 88. Stay safe. Look after each other. No star.